Welcome to the Bible reading plan. Today we're going to be in John 7. I really hope you've read this. This is a very good chapter. There's a lot in this chapter. It's a super long chapter. There are 51 verses, 53 rather. However, we're going to jump ahead to verse 16. So actually we'll go to verse 14. But Jesus is at the Feast of Booths. Everybody's there. Everybody important, I guess. But it says, about the middle of the feast, Jesus went up into the temple and began teaching. So he's at the temple. The Jews therefore marveled, saying, how is it that this man has learning when he has never studied? So Jesus answered them, my teaching is not mine, but his who sent me. If anyone's will is to do God's will, he will know whether the teaching is from God or whether I'm seeking my own authority or seeking his own glory. Verse 18, the one who speaks on his own authority seeks glory, but the one who seeks glory of him who sent him is true, and in him there is no falsehood. Has not Moses given you the law, yet none of you keep the law? Why do you seek to kill me? So Jesus walks up into the temple and starts teaching, and the Pharisees are already looking for him. They're already out for him. If you've read this chapter, you know that he's assumed to be there. So they kind of go in there looking for him. He goes privately. They find him there. Well, they don't find him there. They find him there teaching. And they're like, this dude didn't go to school with us. He didn't learn with us. We don't even know if he did learn. If he didn't learn here, where did he learn? He didn't learn in Greece. This doesn't make any sense. I don't understand how he has knowledge of these things, but has never learned these things. Fair question, I guess. I could kind of maybe understand where they're coming from here. But Jesus answered them, my teaching is not mine, but his who sent me. So he's saying he's the Son of God, which they don't like. Then he goes on to say, if anyone's will is to do God's will, he will know whether the teaching is from God or whether I'm speaking on my own authority. So he's kind of like pointing a finger and then another finger and then all of his fingers at the Pharisees, saying like, you would understand who I am if you weren't seeking yourself. And I think this is something we get so caught up in as Americans and as house owners, and I want a car, like car owners, just mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters. We get so caught up in ourself and the world, and that's all we seek. If we want a cookie, we get a cookie. If we want that new Ford, we get that new Ford. If we want a vacuum cleaner, we get a vacuum cleaner. Personally, I don't, but I could understand if you would. There's no sin in buying something you want, unless you feel bad about it. You know that you shouldn't get it. But there's nothing wrong with having stuff, or having nice things, or being wealthy. It's letting that become your God. It's letting that take over all of your time. If I claim to love Jesus and I read the Bible all the time, but I actually was at home playing video games, I spent more time with the video games than I did Jesus or the Bible. Where am I really placing my time and effort and heart at? It's at the video games. I'm clearly not practicing what I preach. There's something wrong with the Pharisees here, and Jesus is calling it out, but they're too stubborn to like sit down and listen. And we're just the same. We're the exact same. We care so much about how we look, what we drive. If we're walking into church in nice clothes, smelling good and smiling, hey, I gotta say hey to everybody. I gotta make sure that everybody likes me. This isn't a game. Like, we think it's a game. We think church is a game. It's not. It's not a game. This is real life. And people don't really think about it like that. They're like, oh yeah, church on Sunday, for sure. Church on Sunday night, probably not gonna go. Church on Wednesday, I'm sick that day, I can't. We don't think that Jesus is worth our time. We don't go to church, we are the church. We're getting into some really, really, really muddy, murky waters whenever we're starting to like seek ourselves in all these things. I have done this for the longest time until I accepted Christ. So you've got to continually submit to Christ's will. He says, if anyone's will is to do God's will, he will know whether the teaching is from God or whether I speak from my own authority. It's really not that, difficult to understand what he's saying, but they're so wrapped up in themselves that they can't see past themselves. They are all they think about. How good they look, how nice they smell, how much money they have, who they're friends with. It's like, it's all high school. It's awful. It's not fun. This is childish. And Jesus, being perfect in a sinful world, the world hates him. He's exposing their sin. It doesn't feel good to get rebuked. It's not fun. It's fun to be friends with this dude over here because he's cool and he looks good, and friends with this dude over here because he has a lot of money, and like, it's cool to be nice. Like, that's not it. We're here to serve each other, to love each other, to hold each other accountable. We don't do that because we don't believe. It's so simple. Either way, to go on down, we're going to go to 25. Some of the people of Jerusalem therefore said, is this not the man whom they seek to kill? And here he is speaking openly, and they say nothing to him. Can it be that the authorities really know that this is the Christ? People are questioning why the situation is so odd. The reason it's so odd is because it's not Jesus' time yet. He's standing up in front of everybody teaching, and it's kind of like Velma without her glasses. All the policemen, all the Pharisees are like wandering around like, where's Jesus? Where's Jesus? It's definitely not that guy up there teaching us, like telling us how bad we are. And once they kind of catch on, they don't do anything because they can't, because it's not his time. God is sovereign. God is fully powerful over everything, even our lives. So why don't we believe that when stuff gets tough? Why don't we believe that when things get hard? Why don't we believe that, period? If we believe that, we would probably change our ways a little bit. We would probably maybe give a little more money to the homeless. We would probably maybe visit a couple more people in prison. When's the last time you've heard of anybody visiting a prison for any reason? I haven't heard of that ever, and I'm just as guilty as most people. I don't visit the nursing home. I don't visit the prisons. We're supposed to, guys. Like, that's said. Like, it's almost like we don't believe. But I really pray that y'all have read this, that y'all are in constant prayer, that y'all are completely submitted to the will of God, and that y'all have a blessed day. Peace out.